Hi everyone and welcome to Book Boop. My name is Rachel and welcome to my September TBR. I put a little bit of a goal for myself to try to pick all the books for spooky season, September and October, from my TBR cart. I have quite a stuffed cart and most of the books on there are spooky. So I was like, okay, let's see if I can just pick the books on my TBR cart to read for the next couple of months. And it came up to 18 books. So if I'm going to split them in half, I had to read 9 books each month. This is the 9 books I picked for September. I'm a little scared. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read all of these. I really hope so because I would love to read through all these spooky books that have been sitting on my TBR cart, most of them for a long time. Ooh, fuzzies flying in the air, dust everywhere. So I am going to go through these books and what I'm planning to read in September. Some of these I don't actually remember the synopsis, so we'll look at them together, okay? Does that sound good? All right, let's go ahead and jump in. First one is this nice little tiny book here is The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas. This is one I've wanted to read for a long time and I most recently acquired from a local bookstore and I'm excited to give it a try. It looks absolutely perfect for spooky season. Only thing I know about this one is we were following Jake Livingston here and he has the ability to see ghosts and interact with them, and I think he starts dealing with a malevolent ghost that is in his high school. That's all I know about it, and that's all I want to know going into it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure there's going to be a mystery to it. Why is the ghost there? That kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to trying it out, and it'll be a nice quick read. This next one, I definitely don't remember what the synopsis is, and it's called None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney. Let's find out what it is about, okay? It says 1982, Quantico, Virginia. 2 teenagers, serial killer survivor Emma Lewis and U.S. Marshal candidate Travis Bell, are recruited by the FBI to interview convicted juvenile killers and provide insight on cold cases. From the start, Emma and Travis develop a quick friendship, convincing juvenile murderers to talk when even the FBI can't get them to crack. But when the team is called in to give advice on an active case, a serial killer who exclusively hunts teenagers, everything begins to unravel. That's as far as I'm going to go on that one. That sounds perfect for spooky season. Anything that's kind of like has murder involved in it, you're just like, it's perfect for spooky season. So I'm excited about this one. This one sounds like a lot of fun. I really didn't remember what it's about, and now that I've read the synopsis, I'm excited about it again. So that one will be a good time. This next one is I've been holding for so long. I wanted to read it so bad, but I was like, I have to wait until the fall. I have to. And that is Seance Tea Party by Reimena. And this is an absolutely adorable graphic novel. I love the artwork. And it's about this young girl here who wants to stay a kid and do kid things and imagine and play. But a lot of her friends are starting to grow up and they're starting to be interested in more teenagery adult type things and aren't interested in playing and doing more childlike things. And she ends up becoming friends with a ghost. And it just sounds adorable. This sounds like absolutely cozy, but like perfect for fall at the same time. And I'm very excited about it. It just looks so stinking adorable. Stop it. So I can't wait to read it. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm really excited about it. So finally, I'm glad finally the time's come that I get to read it. Okay, this next book is one that I think I'll probably be working on September and in October. I want to take my time with it. I have never really read any Edgar Allan Poe, and I've always kind of wanted to. And so I had picked up this Essential Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe, and I'm really excited to try this out. Like it says on the cover, it's got his stories and a lot of his poetry in it. Pretty small font, so I think it's going to take me a little bit to read through this, but I thought this would be perfect for spooky season. I absolutely adore this cover. Isn't it so pretty? Love it. So I'm excited to kind of like hopefully have a few nights where there's thunderstorms and I can sit and just read some Edgar Allan Poe and just totally get soaked up in it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, next, this is one I've been putting off for a long time because I read the first half of this duology at the beginning of the year, and that is the Dark Vault duology by Victoria Schwab. I read the first book at the beginning of the year, I think in January or February, and I didn't absolutely love it, but I had this duology bind up and I've wanted to read this story for a long time and I want to finish it. I've got the bind up. I want to finish it. So I'm halfway through. This story, we are following a world that after you die, your body becomes kind of a history, and you're put away in this library with a dark vault. And apparently, if there are certain people, like if they touch you, they can read your history, like they can see the things you experienced in your whole life. But the only issue is sometimes those certain bodies will wake up and wander out of the library, and the girl we're following, it's her job to find those bodies and to take them back to the library. There's a small group of people that do this, and that's kind of the concept of it. It's a really interesting concept, and it sounded really cool. It's kind of spooky, but it felt a little bit juvenile. It is a YA series, so obviously it is supposed to be YA and kind of juvenile, but it felt a little bit old school juvenile to me, which makes sense because it's an older series. So it feels a little tropey, but I enjoy the concept of it, and I do need to finish it. So hopefully I can finish up this duology and finally get it done, get it off my cart because it's been there for way too long. All right, this is another book that I recently acquired and I had never heard of, and I stumbled upon in my local bookstore, and it's called A Danger to Herself and Others by Alyssa Scheinmel. And this author actually either helped write or co-authored or something like that the Haunting of Sunshine Girl series, which I really, really loved. It's a fantastic series for the fall if you're looking for some nice ghosty haunted house type stories. So when I saw this and I read the description of it, I was like, wow, this sounds really cool. And then I realized that this author was connected to the Sunshine Girl series, and so I was even more interested. So what I know about this book is we're following a girl who apparently was in some kind of incident with her roommate, I guess in college or maybe a boarding school, I'm not sure which. And I think her roommate ended up dead. And somehow the girl we're following was involved in that, and she's ended up in a psychiatric ward. And she's like, I don't belong here. I don't need to be here. Everything that happened was an accident. And so she's trying to kind of be on her best behavior and try to get herself out of this mental institution. And she ends up meeting this girl that gets put in the mental institution, and they kind of become friends, but then some things start to unravel. It sounds really spooky. It sounds like there's probably a mystery to it. Most likely our main character is not being truthful about what happened and is kind of like pretending like nothing really bad happened and she wasn't involved, and maybe she was. So it sounds like a really cool concept. I always am fascinated by the idea of people being put in a mental hospital but not thinking they're crazy, or really they aren't crazy but everybody thinks they are. I don't know why that trope or that like idea is so interesting to me, but whenever I read that for this description, I was like, that sounds really cool. So I'm excited to give that one a try. All right, I got 3 more. These next 2 have been on my TBR cart for an obscenely long time. I bought them at my library book sale probably maybe a couple years ago at this point, and it was one of those ones like I was interested in them, but every time I see them in my cart, I'm like, I don't feel like reading that. I don't feel like reading that. And I'm like, I need to make myself do it. So I do really enjoy Ted Dekker. These are both Ted Dekker books. He is a Christian thriller author. He mostly writes thrillers and honestly some horror. And he does write fantasy as well. So he has a lot of these thriller mystery books, and they had a couple of them there. One of them is The Bonemans Daughter, and the other one is The Bride Collector. And again, I've had these on my cart for so long, so I don't remember what these are about at all, so let's find out. All right, so Bonemans Daughter says they call him Boneman, a serial killer who's abducted 6 young women. He's the perfect father looking for the perfect daughter, and when his victims fail to meet his lofty expectations, he kills them by breaking their bones and leaving them to die. Lovely person, that guy. Intelligence officer Ryan Evans, on the other hand, has lost all hope of ever being the perfect father. His daughter and wife have written him out of their lives. Everything changes when Boneman takes Ryan's estranged daughter, Bethany, as his 7th victim. Ryan goes after Boneman on his own. That sounds like a good time. It sounds like a good thriller. Perfect for spooky season. So I do really like Ted Dekker. It's just the last Ted Dekker book I read I didn't like, which is rare because I've really liked most of his books. But ever since I read that book that I didn't like, I just haven't been in the mood to read more Ted Dekker. So I just need to get back into it. I need to get back into his books. All right, let's find out what The Bride Collector is about. It kind of just this really spooky looking cover. It's kind of ghosty looking. Okay. A virtuoso killer, oh, another killer, okay, is carving a path of death across the West, intent on killing only the most beautiful women, all in the name of love. Kind of sounds like Bonemans Daughter. It's like, I'm killing you out of love. He's claimed 6 victims and slipped through the FBI's fingers each time, leaving behind a handwritten note and a bridal veil. Special Agent Brad Rains has hunted the bride collector from crime scene to crime scene, but each time he finds himself one step behind. Desperate for help, Rains turns to the Center for Wellness and Intelligence, a private home for gifted mentally ill residents. There he finds help in an unlikely group of 4 who eagerly agree to help him solve the case. All right, I'm going to stop there with that description. That sounds really cool. So this one definitely sounds very mysterious. I'm excited about this. These are going to be good. I'm telling myself that. They're going to be good. I'm going to enjoy them. I just need to make myself do it. Okay, last one. Yet another book I recently purchased at my local bookstore. The Shadows by Alex North. I've read one other book by Alex North. I think it was called The Whisper Man, and it was a murder mystery, and I did enjoy it. It was good. It was a little predictable, but it was still fun to read, so I wouldn't mind trying another one of Alex North's books. Yet again, there's dog hair all over this. That's what I get for putting a book on the floor in my house. Let's find out what the description is, because I don't remember. You knew a teenager like Charlie Crabtree, a dark imagination, a sinister smile, always on the outside of the group. Some part of you suspected he might be capable of doing something awful. 25 years ago, Crabtree did just that, committing a murder so shocking that it's attracted that strange kind of infamy that only exists on the darkest corners of the internet and has inspired more than one copycat. Paul Adams remembers the case all too well. Crabtree and his victim were Paul's friends. Paul has slowly put his life back together, but now his mother, old and suffering from dementia, has taken a turn for the worse. Though every inch of him resists, it is time to come home. All right, I'm going to stop there too, because it says continue on back flap even after more stuff. So I don't want to read like way too much. That sounds really, really interesting. I've read some other books before where we have someone who either a friend of theirs was killed in the past and it was never solved, or there was some kind of like mystery to a past death. And then I'm wondering if this one will hop back and forth between like past and present. I like those kind of books where it just hops back and forth. We're trying to piece together this mystery. So I think this is going to be a good time, and it's not terribly long. So I'm excited. It's going to be good. And that's a perfectly spooky cover. So those are all the books I'm hoping to get to in September. I really, really hope I can get to all of them. We'll see. I also have one more book. So technically I have 10 books I'm wanting to read in September. I'm wanting to read Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson. I'm going to read that on my Kindle. And that is the 3rd book in the Starsight series. It's called Starsight, I think. I don't know. Brandon Sanderson YA sci-fi series. So I'm going to read that on my Kindle. And that'll be kind of be like my exercise treadmill book for the month. Because I started reading it physically and I just haven't really been in the mood, but I want to read it now that I've started it. So I'm like, I'm going to switch to Kindle for it, and that way I can just read it on my treadmill and I can focus on physically reading all these fantastically spooky books because I am excited about them. Please let me know down below if you have read any of the books that I mentioned. Let me know what books you're hoping to read during spooky season, because I am always looking for more suggestions for spooky books. If you want some spooky book recommendations, please let me know what kind of book you're looking for. I would be happy to help because I love reading spooky books all year round, so I may have a good suggestion for you. If you don't know what to comment down below, just comment the skull emoji, because I think that's perfect to start off and kick off the spooky season. But I really appreciate you all being here and watching. On this side of the video over here is my logo. If you click on that, you can subscribe to my channel and follow me on my book journey. On this side of the video over here is a suggestion for another video if you'd like to watch another one right now. But thank you so much for watching. You rock, and don't forget to keep reading. Bye.